Skin the Hot Away 7T back with another EP. And y'all do your boy a favor. Y'all smash that like button for your boy when you roll on in. Whether you're here for a good time or a long time, do your boy a favor. Smash that like button for your boy when you roll on there. We here to have a conversation. Today we having the NFL conversation. We having a football conversation. You know what I mean? We're in the week 8 of the football season, right? You got all the teams shaking out, right? A lot of teams, a lot of teams looking like we thought they would. Some teams overachieving, right? Some teams underachieving. We're about halfway through the season, right? About not quite right, but almost right. About halfway through the season, we're starting to see teams right take form into what they are. If your team is a borderline wild card team, now is the chance. Now is around the time right where that will start to show. If your team is a playoff contender, right, now is the time where it'll start to show. If your team is a Super Bowl contender, borderline Super Bowl contender, now is the time right where it'll kind of start to show. Right. Then you still gonna have teams fall off, right? And you still gonna have teams improve. Most teams right now, who are around 500 or a game right below 500, they're at their point where it's hit or miss, right? It's time for them to cook, or it's time for them to fry or die, right? As for example, teams like Redskins 500, teams uh uh like the San Francisco 49ers, right? 500 kind of teams. And then you got teams like the team that I'm talking about today, Philadelphia Eagles, right? Who's undefeated. Teams like what's one of those 5-1 teams? I know the Cowboys 4-2, right? But teams like the Bills, right, who's 5-1, teams who's kind of looking like, Super Bowl contenders, championship contenders, right? Then you got the playoff contender teams, the middle of the pack, like not middle of the pack, like right above middle of the pack, right? Like division contender teams, like teams who could, possibly mess up or beat, some of the Super Bowl teams like the Cowboys, right? Who play in the same division as the Philadelphia Eagles, right? I think that's gonna get really interesting. You know what I mean? Which is what I'm about to get into it in just a second. You know what I mean? Teams like, the Tennessee Titans 4-2, Dallas Cowboys 4-2, 5-2. I mean the Titans are 5-2. I think Dallas is 6-2. If I'm not mistaken. Tennessee had to buy. Right, but those teams like that where they look like contending teams, right? But we're not sure right now. Are they Super Bowl, teams? Are they playoff teams, right? Type deal. But I'm here to have this conversation, about the Philadelphia Eagles, right? I want to talk about Philly, right? And I'm not one of those guys who jumping on, the Philadelphia bandwagon, nothing like that. I'm looking at this from strictly, a fan's standpoint of view, like analyst, point of view from, the outside looking in as unbiased, as I possibly can, right? And I know at first, I know my guy Big Tex, right? My guy Big Tex came in laughing, right? He came right in with the laugh emotions, like this nigga tripping. He thinks Philadelphia going undefeated. But y'all, let me explain, right? Before y'all bury me, right? Before y'all kill me, right? Let me explain why I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going undefeated. Okay. Not because, right? Let's check that record. Because I think they're 7-0 right now. What, 6-0? So let's look at that record. I know that I looked at the record earlier, but I want to make sure that I'm right. So let's check out Philadelphia 76. I'm about to bring them up, and I'm about to bring my camera up. But let's check out the Philadelphia 76. Now it's a reason I'm saying this, right? It's a reason I'm saying this, right? Because they're undefeated right now, right? That would be the first reason, right? I won't be able to say that I think they're going undefeated if they weren't already undefeated, right? So that's one thing. But just real quick, I want to show y'all something. It's real quick. I want to show y'all something. I'm finna bring my camera up too, so we could get up close and personal. But let's look at Philadelphia 76ers. They 7-0, but I want to know, what I mean, for sure, so I can do this accurately, right? Hold on, real quick. Let me get right. Well, okay, now let me get this thing up. Because I want to do this accurately, right? I want to make sure that I do this accurately. So let's check out that record. I'm going to tell y'all why I believe that they go undefeated. Not just because, they're undefeated right now, right? But because, let's check out Philly. They're 7-0, right? They're first in the NFCs, right? Now, this EP right here is about me thinking Philadelphia is going undefeated. Sudden T, Philadelphia ain't going undefeated. They got to play the Cowboys. They in the same, division as the Giants. They ain't that good. They all right. Their defense really suspect. They be giving up points. Jalen Hurts, can't really throw. They don't got no real running game. AJ Brown can't keep playing like this. For a lot of reasons, right? A lot of reasons. Let me get in the chat so I can see, what y'all saying. What's good, Big Tex? Is they going to run the table until like week 13? Shout out my guy, Big Tex. See my guy, Big Tex. You may have did your homework, Big Tex, right? You see, Big Tex. You may be on something. You may be one of the smart people, Big Tex. So what I need you to do, Big Tex, is be quiet right now, Big Tex. I said I think they going undefeated, right? I think they going undefeated. Big Tex about to run. Big Tex jumping ahead of me. I know what you're doing right now, Big Tex. Let me get to it though. But then, let me tell you why I think they got right. If anybody's going undefeated, right, this team is already 7-0. And I'm just jumping. What I'm doing is right. I'm jumping out ahead of it right now, right? I'm jumping out ahead of it right now. And what I'm saying is, I believe this team is going undefeated, right? Not because they're 7-0 right now, although that plays a huge part in it, right? But let's look at their wins so far, right? The Lions, 38-35. The Vikings, 24-27. Commanders, 24-8. Jaguars, 29-21. Cardinals, 20-17. The Cowboys, 26-17. The Steelers, 35-13. Right? So hear me out. I'm not saying that I feel like they're going undefeated, right, because of who they played. But let's take a look at who they're playing, right, in the upcoming matchup, right? So they're 7-0. They're 7-0 right now. Let's look at their next couple games. Shout out my guy Ray, but let's look at their next couple games. Shout out my guy Big Tix. I think my guy Big Tix, been doing his homework as well. But let's look at their next couple games, right? Y'all do your boy a favor. Y'all smash that like button. Right? So they're 7-0, right? They got the Texans coming up next week, right? I feel like that's 8-0, right? After that, they got the Washington Commanders, a team in which they beat. Now the Washington Commanders are a 500 team. They got a pretty good defense. The offense just kind of get, more consistent, at putting up points, right, and finding their identity. But the offense does, have some good weapons on the squad, right? I feel like that, Philadelphia is going to beat the Washington Commanders like they did the first time, right? So that will put them at 9-0. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to easily beat the Colts, right? That's going to put them at 10-0, right? And then they go play the Green Bay Packers, who've been looking atrocious, right? And that's going to make them 11-0. Now, hear me out. I got the Packers going at least 11-0, right? Now, hear me out. Now, you got the Tennessee Titans next, right, after the Green Bay Packers. Now, this is the game where I think it could get a little tricky. The Titans, historically, of recent years, right, they are, a team that's been making the playoff. They've been winning their division, you know what I mean? Or they won their division 3 out of the last 5 years, right? And they won in the other year that they didn't do it, they came second place, right? They're 4-2 right now. They're looking good. 5-2 right now. They're looking good, right? So this is a game where Philadelphia may hit some resistance, right, or not. So this is one of the games that I got a question mark by. This is one of the games that could, get him an L, right? But for like right now, I'm thinking that they beat the Tennessee Titans, right? So I'm gonna give them their win at 12-0 over the Tennessee Titans, right? Then they got the New York Giants. Record wise, right? The New York Giants, I think right now they are one of the better teams, right? They are one of the better teams, right? But the New York Giants, they're a team that's new to winning. I need them to lose their game. Right. Shout out my guy Big Tech. Right. The Giants are, they're kind of like a team that's new to winning, right? They haven't put it all the way together. I think they're having a good year right now. But if you could stop Saquon Barkley, then you could make it real hard, on the Giants to beat you. I think the Eagles are a better team than the New York Giants. So I got Philadelphia beating the New York Giants, right? So now you got them at 13-0. And then out there, you got the Chicago Bears. I'm expecting them to beat the Chicago Bears, right? You go 14-0. And then we reach the Dallas Cowboys, right? Now, here's another game, right, where I'm going to put a question mark by because the Cowboys looked great yesterday in their game, right? The Cowboys also looked damn good in their game yesterday, right? The Cowboys also are a team right now who may be getting it together, right? The offense came together. They scored, I think, 6 or 7 touchdowns that the Cowboys put up yesterday, right? And if the Cowboys can score you 6 or 7 touchdowns consistently, then it's gonna be hard to beat the Cowboys, especially with their defense that they got, right? So the Cowboys looked damn good yesterday, right? So I think if Philadelphia could get by the Titans in week 12, right? And if Philadelphia could get by the Cowboys in week 14, you finish the season with the Saints and the Giants. I got them beating the Saints, you know what I mean, pretty easy. And then, you're going to have a tough game against the Giants, but I feel like they're a better team than the Giants. And I think they beat the Giants, right? So I'm not saying I think Philadelphia, you know what I mean, is going to go. I'm not saying I think Philadelphia is going to go undefeated, right? Because I'm some sort of, super Philadelphia Eagle fan because I'm not a Philadelphia Eagle fan at all. I'm saying I'm thinking that the Philadelphia Eagles are going undefeated, right? I think part of the reason, right? No, this is not a shot at them, right? But I feel like part of the reason Philly, has been undefeated, or no, I feel like the reason they can't go undefeated is because they have a very favorable schedule, right? Now they still got to go out there and win the games. They got to go out there and make it happen. But when you look at the remaining schedule, right, it's kind of it's kind of soft when you're looking at the remaining schedule. I think that's going to play a huge part in them going undefeated. On top of them being immensely talented, adding AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts stepping into rare form. You know what I mean? Jalen Hurts looking like the quarterback, that I thought, that he would be. He kind of fell in the draft, even had to transfer from Alabama to Oklahoma because of who? Real quick, 30 seconds. Anybody in here could tell me why Jalen Hurts had to transfer from Alabama? 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Because Mac Jones came in and they gave Mac Jones the starting spot. And now in the NFL today, we're wondering if Mac Jones is even going to keep his NFL starting quarterback job, right? And a guy like Jalen Hurts was ran out of Alabama for a guy like Mac Jones. Funny how, you look back at all those analysts questioning Jalen Hurts and, and them everybody pushing up Mac Jones in the draft. You fast forward the time now, Jalen Hurts is probably finna get MVP of the league, right? While Mac Jones is fighting to keep his job after year 3, after year 2, in year 3. You know what I mean? So on top of them already being undefeated, facts, Dion, Jalen Hurts do got weapons. So the fact on top of them, and that's an organization, plus. Shout out to my guy Dion. So on top of them having, talent, right? On top of them actually being, you know, undefeated, I think they might go undefeated. Shout out to my guy Dion sliding through the gym. Appreciate you sliding through. I'm thinking that they might go undefeated because they have a favorable schedule on their hands. right? At first look, outside of the Tennessee Titans and outside of the Cowboys, right? And maybe those two Giants games, right? You know, you got to add the Giants game in there this year. The Giants been playing some good football overall, right? But I think they beat the Giants outside of the one Cowboy game, the Tennessee game, and I think the Giants got a chance to split them 1-1, right? I think they got a good chance, of running the table. I only think they got a couple more, real tests in front of them. The adding Robert Quinn was huge. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it really was. I think they got a real chance, to run the table this year. And I'm not a Philadelphia, Eagle fan at all. I'm literally just looking at, right, the way that they're playing and the schedule ahead of them. It's only a few teams I see, being able to get the Eagles a run for their money. The Eagles looking real good. Now, and the Cowboys are one of those teams because the Cowboys looked real good yesterday. I know my Cowboy fans ain't gonna like this one. But I think the Eagles are a good team. And then you just look at their next couple games. I don't see much resistance. You know what I mean? Up in there, really keeping them from going undefeated. It's like from right now, right? It's week 7. They'll be playing the week 8 game next week, right? Right now, I don't see them having a serious test until week 12, and then after that, it'll be week 14, right? So I can see them easily right now winning, right? I can see them easily right now winning the next, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 games, right? So I can see them getting to 11-0, right? I can see them getting to 11-0 right now, no problem. The next 4 games would be the Texans, the Commanders, the Colts, and the Packers. I can see them beating those teams, you know what I mean? Pretty soundly, right? I can see them beating those teams pretty soundly. And then after that, you got Tennessee. And some people feel like they'll steamroll Tennessee. So I feel like Tennessee may be a test. Somebody else may feel like Tennessee not even a test, right? So you add the Tennessee win, week 12. Then after that, you got the Giants and the Bears. Now, the Giants may give you some resistance, but I think they're a better team than the Giants as well. And, you can pretty much add the Bears win. You can pretty much count their win. You know what I mean? But, if you asking me, right, for the next 4 weeks until they meet Tennessee, right, they're probably going to, continue to win and go 11-0. The schedule for Philly, did Philly make the playoffs last year? I'm not really sure how. They got the schedule that they got. I'm not really sure how they got this schedule making the playoffs, right? But I don't know, man. With the way that they playing, how their schedule looking, I could very well see them going undefeated. I don't know if they'll go undefeated all the way to the Super Bowl, right? The playoffs are a little different, right? When you get to the playoffs, any team can be beat, right? Right. So I don't know if they'll necessarily run the table and go undefeated the whole season, right? But looking at these regular season schedules that they got left, they kind of didn't play, most of their hard games, right? They kind of didn't play most of their hard games, and they drew the luck this year getting their AFC South schedule. Outside of the Tennessee Titans, the AFC South is terrible. The AFC South is terrible. You know what I mean? Outside of the Titans. So they got the luck of the draw with the AFC South, right? They're beating the second best team, right? They're already beating the team, the only team in their division, right? that I think gives them competition in the Cowboys. Now, true enough, they haven't played the Giants yet, but I don't think the Giants nothing that they can't handle. Right? You know what I mean? But they not really beat the Cowboys, who I feel like is the second best team in the division. So I'm just looking at what's left up ahead for them. I can see them going 11-0 easy. I see them having a challenge. I see them having a challenge with Tennessee, and then I don't see them having a challenge until the Cowboys in week 14. On top of Jalen Hurts coming off his best performance, Jalen Hurts best, like, the thing with the Eagles, right? They're a heavy rushing team, right? But these last couple weeks, Jalen Hurts been getting the job done. You know what I mean, through the air. You know what I mean. Just last week he threw for 4 touchdowns in the last game, right? He threw for 4 touchdowns. So if Jalen Hurts, go be throwing, if he gonna be throwing for multiple touchdowns, right? The Eagles gonna be a real problem. You know what I mean? So am I going out? My bad. Am I going out on the limb, right, and saying Philadelphia going undefeated? I ain't gonna see it, right? I have to see. I have to see how they looking at after week 12, right? If they could get to Tennessee, right, undefeated week 12, and then they could beat Tennessee and go 12-0. My Philadelphia going undefeated card, you know what I mean? So I'll be all in. I'll be all in on Philadelphia, you know what I mean, going undefeated. But I see an opportunity, right? I see an opportunity where they very well could, you know what I mean, do so. Like I already said, I see what you getting at. I mean, yeah, like this ain't me, I ain't dropping my goddamn team, right? I ain't dropping my team. This ain't me saying, oh, that they go win the Super Bowl, right? So I'm standing behind my Super Bowl pick, right? My Super Bowl pick was the Buffalo Bills, right? My Super Bowl pick was the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills had kind of a rough game. You know what I mean? They ended up winning, right? But they had a rough game. They got that loss to the Dolphins where they kind of just ran out of time, right? If I had to rank the two best teams in the league, it would be Philly and Buffalo. And after the games last week, I probably would rank Philly above Buffalo. You know what I mean? Because I'm not necessarily, going to say Philly the best team because they're undefeated. Because before last week, I thought Buffalo was a better team. But, Philly just keep on finding a way to win. They looking good doing it. Buffalo look good. They look good for every win. And, they got that one loss to Miami where they kind of struggled. I've seen Buffalo's offense sputter, right, 3 times this year. They ended up winning 2 of the games, and then they lost the Miami game. So I'm just looking at Philadelphia right now, and they just looking like the slightly better team. You know what I mean than Buffalo. So there, but I think I still got Buffalo to win the Super Bowl. But Philly got a real shot. You know what I mean, to run the table and go undefeated. On top of the talent, for me, the biggest part, mainly for me, is the remaining schedule. You look at the remaining schedule, I think, y'all kind of see what I'm talking about. It's only like, man, 2, maybe 3 teams left, you know what I mean, on this schedule they got a shot at beating them. Maybe 2 or 3 teams, right? Washington is a wild card team, right? So right now, I wouldn't count them, you know what I mean, as a threat, right? I feel like they're a better team than the Giants, but I gotta count the Giants, right? and then you got Tennessee and the Cowboys, in which they already beat, right? But the Cowboys were real good yesterday, so it's to be seen. You know what I mean? On that, it's to be seen on, you know, Philly running the table. But right now, I think Philly got a real shot to run the table. And if the Phillies can get to week 12 and they can beat the Titans and they can go 12-0, I'm willing to put it all on the line, right, and say that they probably gonna run the table. You know what I mean? The rest of the year. But I ain't gonna keep y'all in this thing too long. You know what I mean? Because we do got a Monday night game. You know, so I'm gonna be calling it. But I greatly appreciate everybody sliding through this thing. It's getting hard. Like I said, the T is at the past, it's at the future, but it's the present. It's how we rocking. And I'm out. Love.